Yes, and we are recording. Had to check on that and see that for a moment. Okay, so welcome everyone listening today, tomorrow, and into the future. My name is Tonya Heathco, and I am your hostess with the mostest, leading you beyond your diagnosis. Tonight we have with us two young ladies, Jessica McLaren and Becca Jacobs. I lovingly refer to these two as the disability duo. These Columbia University graduate school students are specializing in social work, and they are fighting the crime of disease, disorder, and stigma through sharing of their personal experience of discovering their abilities, while their bodies and perhaps the people around them focus on their disabilities. Enjoy this interview with Becca and Jess. Be encouraged that you, yes, you, can create the life you want through discovering your abilities, just as they have. So welcome, ladies. Let's begin one at a time by sharing a bit about yourselves. Becca, why don't you go first? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I grew up in Andover, Massachusetts, which is a little bit outside of Boston. I'm currently 24 years old. I went to college at the University of Delaware, and I majored in human services. And now I took a year off in between college and graduate school, and now I'm in grad school for social work, and that's how Jess and I met, but we'll get to that in a couple minutes. So I was diagnosed with epilepsy my freshman year of high school. So I think that was 2006, 2007. I was actually ironically on my way to the doctor's office for just a routine checkup, and my mom had thought that I was tapping my foot to music. I had my headphones in, and she had, asked me repeatedly to stop tapping my foot, and I didn't. So we parked, she opened the door. I don't remember any of this, but I fell out of the car, and I was having a seizure on the ground, and ever since then, we've had doctor's appointments, and the diagnosis process was long, but I was diagnosed with epilepsy. It's been a really long journey, but I've only had about 6 to 8 seizures in my lifetime. And I currently haven't had a seizure in over 2 years. So I'm very happy about that. But living in New York City right now, which has been great. And I'm living here again next year for graduate school as well. And I'm looking forward to talking about the diagnosis process and, how Jess and I met and how I've come to continuously adapt to my disability.
Wonderful, wonderful. And now, Jess, do you have a similar background? Would you like to share with us?
Sure, yes. So I'm originally from Maryland, right outside DC, actually, and I went to Marist College. And then I went straight into graduate school for social work. Interestingly enough, I actually got diagnosed with a seizure disorder in 6th grade. So I was about 11. And also I have a learning disability, which I got diagnosed with when I was about 14. So I was a freshman in high school. So both of those together, disabilities, have really made me become who I am and really helped me to want to become a self-advocate for other people and everything. And what's interesting about my seizures is I actually have them monthly. So we're still trying to figure out a way to kind of get them under control and everything. So it's been a long journey through that, but it definitely has been helpful having the support that I have. And so I'm just here ready to self-advocate for and help people understand and feel confident. So that's what me and Becca are here for. So.
Wow. Yes, I know catamenial seizures, the type of seizures you described, they are tricky little boogers to get under control, and there is hope out there. There is hope out there. I encourage you to keep exploring. I encourage both of you ladies to keep exploring. So now, since the two of you have been diagnosed with your disabilities and you've discovered your own abilities and you began this journey of awareness, what have you done, and how has it increased your quality of life?
Okay, I can answer this first since
Go ahead.
Jess was just talking. So I think for me, I think it's really interesting that both Jess and I do connect on this level, but we also have very different experiences. So for me, it's nice to learn about all of the different types of seizures and even just disabilities in general, and know that even if you have the same diagnosis, it could be totally different. So, I mean, Jess and I do have different diagnoses, but we are connected through the fact that we have seizures, but even so, we don't have the same type. So it's really interesting learning about different people's experiences. I was kind of in denial when I was diagnosed because it wasn't something I was familiar with. The doctors didn't even really understand it either because I had no history and no family history. So they had no idea what was causing my seizures. So that was really confusing. And I mean, I've been on medication and it's pretty under control, but I've had to learn what I can and can't do, when I should take my medicine, which has recently been changed and it's been so much better. But it's interesting because I haven't really been, I guess you could say, like a public advocate for seizures or epilepsy or disabilities until I met Jess. And it's actually funny because we were in the same disabilities class together in graduate school. And it was the first day of class, and it wasn't even this class. It was a different class. And I had overheard her talking about something that I thought was a seizure. So I interrupted her and I said, excuse me, I don't mean to be nosy, but do you have epilepsy? Are you talking about seizures? And then that's how we met. And ever since then, I felt so much more confident talking about my diagnoses, and we've just been kind of like a power team, bouncing ideas off of each other. And this was actually the video that we created, You, Me, and Disability, Living with Disabilities. It started out as a school project, but it was intended for this type of use so we could spread the word. And Jess had said that she had always wanted to speak about this to everyone, about disabilities and the stigmas and overcoming certain barriers. And I really was kind of inspired by Jess to take action and say, yeah, let's do this. I definitely want to do this. So that's what we've been doing together. It started with a YouTube video, and ever since then, we've been reaching out to organizations, and we're so happy that we connected with you. So we're able to spread the word. And I mean, Jess can talk a little more about what we have going on, but this is really what we're doing right now. And it's been great so far.
Wonderful, wonderful. And it's so wonderful that you speak about all of this with this huge smile on your face. That's so good to see. That's so good to see. Yeah. And so, Jess, how has this increased your daily quality of life?
Well, for me, definitely it's a combination of my learning disability and my seizure disorder. So since I got diagnosed with my seizures before my learning disability, I already kind of had a routine about living with, like, you said, like a disability and everything. And then once I began accepting it and realizing how unique of a person I am with it, and how, just like Becca said, just her overhearing the words kind of made us connect with each other, and just how powerful, disability, learning, seizure, and how that can be just so powerful, and that can bring people together and also just help break the stigma and help become a self-advocate for other people, which is definitely also something that we would like to do. And it was funny because in the disabilities class we took, when the professor talked about doing a project, and she said that you can write a paper or do a group project, me and Becca looked at each other and just kind of did a little smirk, like saying, like, we're going to talk about our disabilities, right? Like, and it was just kind of funny because after class we kind of raced to each other and we're just like, so you want to do this? And we both were on the same page, which was really cool. And also for me, really reassuring that someone else had this passion to talk about their disability and want to help spread the word. That is also been like a big motivator for me. And we both are very different in a lot of ways, but also have this very common, disorder or difference that people can say that really bring us together and really push the power and encourage each other to do different things. Push us outside of our comfort zone, which is definitely something that I'm very thankful for.
Yes. And now talking about pushing you outside of your comfort zone a little bit, a question just came to me. You all talked about advocating and raising awareness. Now, for most folks, for the general public, even for those in the epilepsy community, when you say the term raising awareness or telling your story, it usually just stops with that. Stops with a fact here or there, or some good news, or a story, or an interview like what we're doing now. Have you, either one of you or both of you, ever considered what it means to go beyond raising awareness? You all have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that in any situation when you raise awareness, it starts with education, because it's very easy to know about something and say it back to someone, but to really be educated and enriched and knowledgeable on something, you need the combination of facts, storytelling, and experience. So I think it's important that we do have this video and that we also are talking about our disabilities. However, I definitely think that, granted, when you have a disability, you can't fully understand it if you don't have that exact situation. So I guess in that sense, no one can truly understand fully what everyone's going through. But I think by having all of these different combinations of things and educating people, and even having people from the outside come into certain maybe conferences or events, and people with other disabilities or without disabilities kind of entering a small glimpse of someone else's world, just to see, to I guess combine the different areas that I'm talking about. I think that's a good foundation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, Jess, do you want to add any to that?
Yeah, definitely. So definitely being educated and more educated really is helpful. Like I said, having the facts and to kind of gain a little more understanding about maybe the person's experiences with having that certain disorder, that certain disability, and also showing your growth and how far you've come with, having this disability, maybe not necessarily accepting it, because that can take a lot of time for a lot of people. So definitely being able to share your experience and just basically say, I kind of understand a little bit of what you're going through, right? Like I maybe not have the same seizures that you have, but I know what it's like to feel, have that out of body experience. I know what it's like to not want to explain to people what it feels like to have a seizure, because they look at you like you have 5 heads,
Yeah.
So definitely just being able to kind of, virtually hold their hand a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I would kind of phrase it a little bit.
Wow. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Now, excuse me. If y'all have a few minutes, I would like to share a bit of my journey with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, much like the story we've heard here today, I had no background, no family history of seizures, of epilepsy. When my firstborn was 6 weeks old, I experienced my first seizure. From then on, for the next 10 years, not only did I go misdiagnosed, but I was recorded in a hospital setting of having over 500 seizures a month. And nothing was working. And I was misdiagnosed. Neurologists across the country were telling me and telling my parents, it's constipation and stress. That's her problem. And then finally, I met an epileptologist. I entered into a seizure study, met the epileptologist, my current doctor now, and he was able to do the correct testing and read the tests in the correct way that determined that I was born with a genetic brain abnormality that produces small benign tumors in my head. And those benign tumors, they migrate, they roll around. I lovingly refer to it as my rocks that roll. and every time there's a shift there, I experience a seizure. And along with that, anything that's connected to my brain in my body is affected. And so what did I do in learning this information? Well, there was a time of adjustment, a time of acceptance. And as I accepted it, I realized that having a quote-unquote disability was much like having an addiction. My body was addicted to dis-ease. my body was addicted to those seizures, as odd as that sounds. And so what did I do? I realized the first step to my healing was acceptance. Just like the first step to healing an alcoholic is that they have to accept that there's some work to be done in their lives. And with that, I went ahead and started doing the things inside myself, changing my mindset, changing my thought pattern, changing what I do in my physical life. And now I'm proud to say that although my seizures are medically uncontrolled and there is no cure, there is no surgery, there is no thing like that in my future, I'm proud to say that my seizures have reduced from over 500 a month down to under 30 a month. So they're very, very manageable now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and I owe it all. I owe it all to the lessons that I've learned from other advocates and the lessons that I've learned from mentors showing me the better way to self-care, the better way to awareness, the better way to positive seizure management. So thank you all for letting me share a little bit of my story. And I have another question here for both of you. If a person riddled with confusion, despair, and hopelessness came to you today wanting advice on how to step out of the effects of dis-ease, of whatever the disability is, and rise above to discover his or her own abilities, what would each of you say?
Well, first of all, thank you for taking the time to share your story. I think that going back to your earlier question for a minute, just because you got me thinking, I think some other steps to be taken, and based off of what you said and all of us, is that looking into different research that's being done and funding for certain things, certain disabilities is important also, and taking that a step further to look at what's being done and where are there still things missing, and where can improvements be made in healthcare systems and government systems, so larger systems than us, which is important, I think. And then to answer your current question, I think Jess and I have talked about this because we just have so many different ideas and so many different things to talk about. But I think that it's important, and we say this in our video too, it's important to note that every single person handles disability in a different way. It's unique to an individual. So I don't think that there's one saying that could just automatically, or some pep talk that could be like, yeah, I can come to terms with that. And I think it's subjective, and just, I guess, being there for people, being supportive and positive encouragement, but also validating people's feelings and saying, you know, it's okay to feel bad and sad and mad and angry at your disability and confused, because it's a continuous process that where you're constantly learning new things and learning how to adapt. So an example is I had come to terms with my epilepsy is while I was still in college. However, when I was applying to jobs, I had to check off that I had a disability, and I wasn't even fully aware that what I had was a disability, because I didn't associate what I had with being a disability, and that kind of brought about negative stigmas for me even. So it was about overcoming my own perception of how others would perceive me, if that makes sense. So I think it's all very subjective, and you know, it's important to be there for someone and give them positive reinforcement and realize that everything is unique to an individual. Mm-hmm. So I think that I would say that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead, Jess.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I definitely would agree that it's very subjective and very unique to an individual, but also having the positive encouragement is definitely necessary to help someone, just maybe for them in a better direction, as they may say, but also you can easily fall back with one little, so for my learning disability, I'd be doing great, get A's, and then all of a sudden I would get a test and get a C, or like a D, and I would fall right back, and I'd have to step back up. So without the support that I've got, that I'm thankful for from teachers, my parents, Also, I saw different specialists without the support from them saying, it's okay that you got a D. It's okay that, you can't really read very well. It's okay that you're 16 and still need to sound out a word that other people may not. That, there's so many people out in the world that are successful because they have a disability. So just knowing that is just very reassuring. And also just on the hand with my seizures and everything, just knowing that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to not want to fully accept it, because over time you'll learn to accommodate with it. So kind of as you were saying, you have to change your lifestyle and everything. So for me, I'm on this special diet. So what's very hard for me is when I go to restaurants, I can only have 20 carbs a day. So when I go to restaurants and I ask for them to accommodate the menu and everything, they look at me and I need to explain to them, it's for dietary reasons. And people look at me as if they're saying, like, you are on a diet, like, you don't need to be. And the part of me deep down really wants to just say, like, I have a seizure disorder, like, this is why. But in the end, it's like, it's not their business. I don't want to make them feel bad, because a part of me really wants to educate them in that moment. But then I have to take a step back and say, is that the right environment to educate someone? Or will it make them just feel sorry for me and feel sorry for someone with a disability rather than learning about the disability? So that's what I would say.
And Jessica, I want to take that a step further, because I recently had a personal experience just like what you were describing. I was in one of our favorite restaurants here locally, and I too have taken on a new form of eating. It's not a specific diet, but it does cause issues when in a restaurant setting. And so I asked our waitress if they could accommodate what I needed to eat. And she asked me, she said, well, okay, but why? She says, you don't look like you need to be on a diet. And I told her, I said, well, no, I don't look like I need to be on a diet. I said, but I am choosing for my own health because I have a seizure disorder. And sometimes the foods that I put into my body, or the chemicals that I put into my body, the additives that you all may have in the restaurant, sometimes those can trigger a seizure in me. And she immediately started to give me what I call a pity pat. That's where she takes her hand and she kind of taps me on the shoulder. Oh, you poor dear. And I said, no. I said, don't pity me. Take this opportunity and either learn more about epilepsy or don't. I said, it's your choice. I said, all I want to know is yes or no. Will you all accommodate me? And of course she said yes. And
good for you.
Yeah. It's not our responsibility to decide what will make another person feel bad or feel better. It's our responsibility to own our diagnosis and to own our own self-care. So keep that in mind.
And I think when you said about self-care is also very essential too. So once you understand yourself, you know what works best for you for self-care. So some people may not feel comfortable enough to say something to, waiter or waitress, may not have developed that confidence yet, but knowing yourself, which, we all know ourselves, know what's comfortable for us. So we know, am I just making myself uncomfortable and not going to enjoy the rest of my night? Or is it just worth saying, I'm on a diet for medical reasons and just leave it at that?
Yes.
So definitely the self-care and getting to know yourself, which takes a lot of time. Definitely, so people should not be discouraged if they're like, I'm diagnosed now, I need to figure out. Like, it can take years to years till you're, in your 50s, because we're also growing and learning about ourselves, and the people we meet also too can really change our lives. So.
That is true. Now I'm going to do something different if I can. I noticed that there's somebody at the door trying to get my attention right in the middle of this interview. So while you two are telling everyone today, tomorrow, and into the future what's next and next and next for the Disability Duo, I'm just going to step away for a moment.
Okay, that sounds good. So we actually, I don't know if you guys have seen our video. If not, feel free to check it out. It's about a 20-minute video of me and Jess talking about our experiences. So it's called Living with Disabilities, and I think it's is it a colon, Becca and Jess? I think it is.
Yes, and you can look it up, you, me, and disability as well.
Yes. So that's, if you would like to email us, we'd be happy to give it to you. And if you're interested in connecting, feel free, and we'd love to work together to continue to raise awareness and educate others. So our email address is youmeanddisability@gmail.com.
So as Becca was saying, definitely please reach out to us, email, and also if you want to comment on our video or have any questions, feel free to contact us. We're hoping also to, like we said before, reach out to other organizations and possibly maybe, speak to other individuals, and we're also just playing it by ear, because we can't predict the future. We have these great ideas, but we can't predict the future. So also, if anyone has different suggestions, feel free to reach out to us, because we would love, any suggestions, any support. So just feel free to reach out to us, and we're hoping to also just spread and educate everyone else. So we're hoping to do maybe some more podcasts, but we just really don't know, because we can't really predict the future. So,
and we're very open to everything and anything. So we would love to get together and bounce ideas off of each other and do this in collaboration with a lot of different people. So as Jess said, we're very flexible and open to everything.
And we're both going to be in New York City. We go to Columbia and everything. So also, if people live in like New York City or anything and maybe want to get together or have ideas, feel free to also reach out to us as well. So.
Wow. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for allowing me to step away for a moment. And thank you for sharing. Now, if you didn't already share while I was stepped away, please tell our listeners, where might they connect with you today, tomorrow, and into the future?
We already said that.
Okay.
We're a step ahead.
You two are professionals. I'll tell you what. So thank you both for spending this time with us, for creating awareness, and for letting our listeners, letting our viewers know what a fantabulous, that is a word borrowed from one of my friends, what a fantabulous disability duo you all are.
Well, thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk about our video and to share our experiences. It really means a lot to us.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for watching.
Mm-hmm. I hope you enjoyed our video, and please feel free to reach out to us. We're open for any ideas, and we're here to talk. Talk about more our experience if you have questions or anything.
Now, before we wind down the show, is there anything else that you all wanted to add?
I can't really think of anything.
Yeah, I think we covered it.
Okay, so there you have it, folks. Ability beyond diagnosis from the disability duo. I encourage you to spend a few moments each day, no matter what your diagnosis or daily experience, to consider your abilities and possibilities. You will see as you focus on what could be, you will find ease in your day, relief from stress, and a powerful, positive future. Many blessings and better brain health to all listening tonight, tomorrow, and into the future. I am terrific Tonya Heathco, your hostess with the mostest, taking you beyond your diagnosis. Good night, everyone.